It's snapshot time. It's snapshot time. That's right. 19w45 letters. We're currently on B as I record this video. We'll jump in and show all the new things. So here we are inside of Minecraft snapshot 19w45b, actually, as I am recording this video. The B is for bees. Well, I'm just kidding, actually. Every time that they come out with a second version, they just add A, B, C, and they keep going. But let's talk about updates to bees first. There have been a problem with bees in the previous snapshots, and a list of those problems include that if you teleported a bee away from their hive, or you picked up the hive with a bee already inside of it, then the bee would go looking for that original hive location. So they would like wander away from their new home hive wherever you had placed the bee or the new hive. Another issue was that if you had a hive and then you built a wall in front of it, the bee would continue to try to get back to that hive even if there were impassable blocks in the way of getting back to that hive. And then finally, if a hive was full and the bee tried to enter into the hive when it was full, they would just kind of hang out there and not do anything about it, even if there was an empty hive right next door or right nearby that they could have entered, they wouldn't switch their home hive. So in order to fix all of those issues, now bees will search for a hive within a 10 by 10 area. So they'll search within this big 10 by 10 area to find a hive. If they find it, then that will become their new home hive. And this will solve all of those issues with bees. And it looks like after putting down that bee and putting down this hive, the bee found the hive and is already going to explore. So that is working perfectly. In the previous snapshots, if a bee was spawned underwater, they would kind of just stop. And in fact, we'll see this later. If a AI thing couldn't be done for the bee would just kind of freeze and stand still. And in the new versions, they actually will not freeze like this. But also, if they're underwater, they will now pathfind out of the water. They get hurt a little bit quicker than they were before, but they will actually leave the water if they happen to be in the water. So they're a little smarter now. Pollination tracking has been updated. It's a little just difficult to show in between the two versions, but so just trust me that it's been updated. And double tall flowers can be pollinated again, and you can also now use double tall flowers in your hand to attract bees. This works just the same as wheat would with many animals or seeds with chickens. So now you can hold a double tall flower as well as a single tall flower to get these bees to follow you around. In older snapshots, if foxes had something inside of their mouth, they would do the eat animation, but the thing would stay inside of their mouth and they could eat it. See, he's trying to eat it, but he actually still has the chicken in his mouth, and he will continue to try to eat this and get status effects. It's basically as if he did eat it, but he actually duplicated the item and has it still in his mouth. In the new snapshot, that works perfectly correct. There he goes. He's chomping on it, and there you go. Now the chicken is gone. In older snapshots, the wolf is still chomping on that chicken that he can't get rid of. Look, he even has a status effect. Okay, once again, back to old snapshots. The wolf's sitting was raised. His back legs are raised off of the block that he is sitting on. And that has been fixed in this newest snapshot. Nice sitting technique there, Wolfie. In older snapshots, if you happen to have a zombie villager that was wearing armor and you went through the process to change him back into a normal villager, the armor that the villager was wearing will disappear. But in the new version, the armor will now be dropped. So in the hypothetical situation where there is a zombie villager that kills you and takes all of your stuff, then if you go through the process of curing that villager, they'll now drop your armor set instead of just steal it and delete it, which is pretty cool. The current way to craft a composter, in Java edition that is to use oak planks on the bottom and oak fences at the top to get your composter. But in the Bedrock edition of the game, they use oak slabs all the way around, and that is the new recipe for Java edition moving forward, which I actually prefer because I feel like this is a much simpler recipe to remember. In fact, I mean, why not, why not just do this? Yeah, a tall boat. That's what I want. Alas, the true recipe is to use oaks or any type of slab, a wooden slab, to make your composter. That way you don't have to remember planks and fences, which I think this is a good addition. In the previous versions of the game, in-stone bricks were actually less durable than pure in-stone, which is kind of weird because you would use in-stone to craft the bricks, but then the bricks they're super easy to mine, and specifically, let's show off the blast resistance of these two items. So obviously, the damage on the in-stone brick side is much larger than just on the straight up in-stone side. So now, in the new snapshot, place the TNT. Now, there's a visual glitch there that's actually still in the center. These have the same blast resistance, and that means that you'll mine them at the same rate. I always found that it was very weird that you'd go into an in-city and the walls of the in-city were like insta-mine if you had an efficiency, a high efficiency diamond pick, and then you'd go over to normal in-stone on the ground, and it was like, why is this so hard to mine? I used to actually just get in-stone bricks just because you could quickly get them all and then use them for bridges to find more elytra. But no longer. Now they are the same blast resistance, and they'll take the same amount of time to mine, which just makes sense. In previous versions of the game, you could use dispensers to dispense armor stands, but as you're looking at this, they're all facing the same direction. Now, armor stands will face in the direction of the dispenser dispensing them, and that will always be facing away from the dispenser, so I can grab some. Where is my armor? I like using chainmail because, unless if you have a skeleton farm going, you don't normally get a whole bunch of chainmail. But there you go. So now they're all facing away from the dispenser, which just makes sense. I keep saying that. In the past snapshots, if you put down a banner, there is a slight moment when it turns white, as you can see. And that would work with banner designs and with straight up banners. So now it's been fixed. Now they show up immediately. There's no weird white flash. Let's say it with me. It just makes sense. Okay, this one maybe not so much. I mean, it does make sense, but it's not like a mechanic. It's just a little flat. Anyway, moving on. Major, so minor bug fixes. The most major one that I decided not to show is that you could change a zombie villager into a normal villager and get incredible trades, and there was a way to sort of hack the system in order to trade for libraries. Bookshelves. You make a library with a bookshelf, but you could trade for a bookshelf, which would give you 3 books, and then you could trade it back to the villager for more emeralds than it takes just to get a normal bookshelf. That has been nerfed, so you can no longer do emerald farming in that way. There's some Enderman changes where they'll look at you. Now parrots won't imitate Enderman. Birch trees will now show up in roofed forests. And there is a ton of visual glitches and things that where transparencies weren't working out. They're rewriting the whole engine for how things get displayed. So all of that is getting fixed, and is nice that things are kind of coming together when it comes to all of the visual enhancements with Minecraft. I decided to tell you that instead of show all those little itty bitty details to you guys. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a big ol' thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. And I'll see you next time on OMG Craft. Bye.